Hello gamers, I'm Craig DB and this is episode 3 on the dbGaming server. I am at my base and as you can see I've been doing a fair bit of work just expanding it. It was just like a cross of some very narrow corridors in a cross shape. You'll see there I've been working on some food farm areas over here. My main objective here, my main objective is also to deal with these guys. Right, I'll get to in a sec. I've been working on basically automation systems to make some pumpkins, sugarcane, and I will be setting up a chicken farm to get eggs. Whoop, something just went off. I think that was a pumpkin then. So you can see here, collecting some pumpkins over here, collecting some sugarcane there. So these are pretty self-explanatory, but hopefully down the track I'm going to set up a second section of pumpkin here. I've kind of got the groundwork happening here, but it's incomplete, so I'm hoping to record just finishing that off just to show how this is working. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You basically have sugarcane growing, it goes past some pistons, and at the top is an observer. The observer detects when the sugarcane has reached the top. When one of them reaches the top, it triggers the whole lot to go off, and all of the sugarcane goes off. Now this is just simply because at the back here we've got the redstone going on the observers that runs down the back here. Now what's happening here is I have behind the pistons, I'm not exactly sure which bit is triggering it, but basically because I've got the redstone, I believe this redstone on the bottom here is going then back through the block, which then activates the piston. We've got a bit of a drowned hassling us over here. There he is, he's in the window. Hey buddy. Do you want to get in? I don't have any access out there at the moment. Some of the spots I've still got little sideway accesses here to get out because I'm digging out and making some more expanded area. Slowly but surely what I'm doing is doing the sides wider and wider and then moving them in towards the center, so each one gets brought in like this and then this one like this. Same on the other side. Slowly but surely it's phasing out all of the corners until I have a completed dome. You can see from this angle now, you're getting a much more of an appreciation of what this thing is going to look like once it's finished off. In the last videos it was still just underneath this area here, you couldn't really get a view of how that was all going to look. Now we've got a pretty good idea. You can see here I've basically just got a mushroom farm going. The idea there is I've got these here are simply to stop monsters from spawning inside here. What I didn't think about is theoretically spiders could still spawn, but they don't seem to. And then in here, just got mushrooms. We'll just pick a couple of those up. Basically, leave one there so that that'll keep growing. And I don't really know if it's going to be a valuable thing to keep growing mushrooms, but it was just an experiment I was doing in how to keep a dark area so that mushrooms would grow, but keep the mobs from spawning. That guy's really loud. Anyway, down here I've been working a bit more on the center area. You can see I've finished off the center feature where I've made this all solid block by growing some kelp through on all of those. Put some magma block at the bottom there, and that's creating the bubbles around the outside, lit up with some glowstone at the top, just to create a feature there. I could put a fish in there to swim around. Apparently if you put more than one, they can push each other out, so it's best just to keep one. So if I find a really nice tropical fish, I might put him in there. Maybe even one that I can name. Then on the sides here, these are all my storage areas that I'm setting up. These are all using a lock plugin. That basically means that's why I can open an iron door without redstone. but it secures the door. Wooden doors can be what they call lag rushed, because the door will open by native method of right clicking. You can open the door and get through before lag catches up with the server and says, hey, hang on, no, you weren't supposed to be able to open that door, but you're already in, so it kind of just glitches and you can get past them. Iron doors, however, because you can't open it right clicked until the server goes, oh, the plugin says you can, it prevents the lag rush option. In here, I'm just starting to set up some storage. One of the ones I'm doing down here is food and sort of organics, for lack of a better word, which is here. This is where I wanted to put those mushrooms. We have a mob drop one. There we go. So I put my mob drops in there. They were picked up along the way. My cobblestone's pretty close to full, but I do use that when I'm expanding, but then I get some back again. I think I'm starting to return more cobblestone than I'm using as I do each bit, because I'm slowly moving down towards the lower sections, so each wall is getting smaller, but the bigger wall is coming back. Anyway, today, as you saw when I first came in, my big problem I've got right now, you can hear there's a skelly around somewhere. I don't know where he is. But that is my issue at the moment, is that I have mobs spawning all over the place. And part of addressing that will be finishing the floor. Now you'll see here, I've decided to keep a bit of a space in the middle where I'm not going to be putting the glass ocean floor, the fish tank. This is kind of where the fish tank will start and go around. And the reason for that is quite simple. Is my storage facilities under there, and it kinda, I didn't plan that very well, so this is just my way of working around it, is just to put this pattern on the outside here. You can see there was a comment from Mob Destroyer on my previous video that he thought that the nether portal was badly positioned. It was up on this block here. It was a lot taller at the time too. I've made it a bit shorter. I can hear him walking around and he really makes me nervous. I've made that shorter, I've put it down, and I've just dressed this whole area up a little bit more so that it's looking a little nicer. And Mob Destroyer, when you watch this, I want to see, do you think that this is a better option for the portal? Keeping in mind what I'm thinking of doing once I've removed this roof layer. This is all temporary, this is like scaffolding. Don't think that this is going to be here permanently. That's all going to be removed to reveal the dome on top. What I'm thinking of doing around the portal is putting vines growing. Just, I don't know, just make it less obvious of just a block standing in the middle of nowhere. Make it a little bit more of a feature. But my issue right now, as I was getting to, is the fish tank. I want to expand the fish tank. You can see I've expanded it a lot more here. I had a bit of an issue overnight, where if you notice in the previous video, this was actually 3 high, not 2 high, and it actually spilled over into here, and then of course all the kelp grew, and this morning I actually, because I was AFK overnight, this whole area had changed to 3 high. So I had to go through and clear all the kelp, and then remove the water through blocks, just sort of covering the whole one layer, bring it back down to 2 height. My fish is still swimming around. I got one more cod that just happened to spawn in a bit of the water area nearby, so I caught him and put him in. So I've now got the 1 salmon over there, and there's 1 cod, there's 2 cod swimming around together. So, but my task at hand is I want to get this starting to light up, which means pickles. I also, just for the feature factor, I want to get coral and some of the reef features, so I can get them just sort of growing in there, so that I'll have, you know, a nice fish tank floor to work with, like a a reef tank floor to walk around on. Obviously, some areas like this over here where the farm is, all this farm area is not going to be fish tank. So I'm going to probably do this as a stairway all the way up to here. And then on the outsides is where the fish tank will come up to. Not all the way down here. But the fish tank will probably come to around here somewhere. There's obviously going to be areas where I've got buildings. I'm going to have my enchanting area, things like that. I don't think they'll be sitting directly on top of the glass. They might. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to experiment with that. But I need to go find a coral reef. So that's the agenda today, is it finding a coral reef. Now I've got this spot here. This is what goes up to where my mob harvester area is, which incidentally is now functioning. You will actually see, I've got to fix up some areas. I've got to mine obsidian so that I can make the whole roof out of obsidian. That's my plan. But you can see there's stuff is spawning in here very nicely. And if we go down, I'm going to be able to improve it by clearing out some of the mobs spawning in other areas. Oops, I'm out of hunger. I definitely want to get those chickens, and I might look at the chicken farm today. We'll see how that goes. Once I've got the chicken farm complete, then I'll be getting pumpkin pies, and it's going to be so much easier to manage than eating carrots and potatoes all the time. Now down here is my harvester. You'll notice I've been using the axe lately. It's one of the videos you might notice they were commenting that there was more damage from the axe than the sword, which is kind of weird. But I've noticed that the sword seems to have a longer range. You can see guys are starting to just appear here at the moment. It does work, and you get sporadic drops of guys. There you go. New guy just dropped down. I wouldn't say it's as efficient as some of my previous ones that I've made. I've had some really efficiently spawning stuff going on. What I was concerned about was because the harvester, I'm hoping you can hear me over the noise of these guys. I think I might just get rid of them first. So yes, previously my mob harvesters had too wide base to them so that the water flows were all 2 blocks wide. This one I've really narrowed it down to just 1 to compact space, just make things a bit more, because I had space issues to do with the fact that the actual spawning chamber is inside a hill underwater. So as a result, I was projecting out into the water, and I wanted to try and keep the spawning chamber hidden in the hill. So you can see they're starting to flow, so it is working quite well. It will work even better once there's less stuff spawning in other areas. Getting back to where we were, so that was the mob harvester, so you can see that's now really working quite well. The doorway to the mob harvester, which I've got to dress up, I've got to make this look a lot nicer. It's looking very average at the moment. This is an access way that I've made that gets access to all of the lighting system. But yeah, got to dress all this up, make it look nicer, so that it's just finished off, but I'll get to that at another stage. Important thing I was getting to, this is a nice little access area to get out to the surface. And you can see here, if you saw the previous video, you can see now just how much more work that's been done developing this. And you can imagine what that's going to look like once all of that floor's removed. You can see there's a creeper on the top floor there. Look at him. So that top floor, you can see that that's where, on the last video, that's as far as I'd done, as the width of that. And so you can see quite a lot more has been done. In fact, I've really only got the little corner bits left. From this perspective, you can see there's not much more to go. This is one of those little, not an ocean monument, but just one of those little, like an abandoned building or something. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I've been finding there it is there. That's a pretty decent sized one actually. I don't know if there's treasures and stuff in there. I'll get to that at some point. because I've been a bit nervous, and I'm going to move away from there now, because I believe the guys with the tridents tend to spawn there a bit more frequently. The other thing I'm going to keep a lookout for while I'm moving around here is ocean monuments, because that's definitely going to be something to experiment with. I kind of made a, not like a farm as such in the last server. It kind of was a farm, but not like, I've seen some people make some serious farms where they just spawn and channeled into into a collection zone, much like my natural spawning harvester I've got, but a particular one for the Sea Guardians. And yeah, I've seen. I will be curious to see how I can make something like that, but I've never. Last one I did, it was just basically a case of if you took like an underwater breathing potion or something like that, you could just dive in. I'd cleared it out enough that you dive in and swim around inside the lower half of the monument and just clean them all up. What's that glowing over there? See, this is a good time to actually go looking for monuments because of the sea lanterns that light it all up. Is that a sea lantern? Is this a monument? That looks like a sea lantern, but not a monument one. And I just heard a drowned. See, they are sea lanterns, but that's not a monument. And I'm a bit nervous about hearing the drowns because, like I say, I believe the drowns with tridents tend to spawn around those things. I don't know if it's just my imagination or what. But I do know that when they shoot tridents at you in a boat, it will actually break your boat. So it's not a fun thing to be around. My very first preview video, the episode 01, illustrates that. I died to a trident because he broke my boat and I was low on health at the time. Speaking of which, I should probably do something about that right now. Ooh, what's that? That really looks like a monument. Just keeping an eye around for guardians. If I see any guardians spawning, because that's seriously, I think that's a monument. That's definitely a monument. Awesome. I have now found my monument I'm going to use. Oh no, that's a trident. And again, that's another one of those little things. Like I said, they tend to spawn around those little abandoned buildings, underwater buildings, sunken building, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Someone tell me, what is it called? Is it called a sunken building? I just thought, really weird thought just then as a off the cuff thing. I wonder if I could capture a guardian and add a name tag to it and call it Groot. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep, okay. I did that. Uh-oh. Is that another one? That's another one. That is most definitely another temple. Another monument. Oh, there's a guardian. I should get the ding soon. Wow. I'm quite surprised I didn't get that little ding to say that I can't build. Can't dig. Mining fatigue. Hopefully on this little island here I'll find a cow. Cow's pretty important when it comes to addressing... Oh, there's a jungle. I hadn't had a jungle yet. That gives me jungle timber. Awesome. Is that another jungle? Another village over there? Desert village? This boat's really cool. It's not actually... Oh, it's slightly sunken. If that was like 1 block higher or 2 blocks higher, that would be perfect. Can I see a blacksmith in here? Whoa. This is actually a pretty cool spot. Like, obviously not applicable for me with my Atlantis, which it's now officially named, by the way. I set up residence on it, like the residence plugin, so it's now grief-proofed. But this is a nice spot. Oh, stupid rabbit. I mean, seriously, Rabbit. You didn't see it was too far to fall? To jump? What are you thinking? I'm on a road to nowhere. Oh, what is this? That's just seriously deep. Oh, oh, that's epic. Oh, that's got the makings of an awesome underwater base. Oh, except if you do that. This place definitely is base material area. This is so cool. Village right next to it for trading. Underwater base location that's nice and hidden. It's got all the hallmarks. There's another abandoned sunken building. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a sunken building. That looks like coral reef. So there's a coral reef not far from that place either. Look at that look at that sculpture. Natural sculpture. That's awesome. That's a coral reef. And of course it's getting dark. I'm pretty sure if you bone meal it, it's just still going to be the grass and stuff. I know you can bone meal the pickles to make it grow more and more, which means that I don't have to harvest many pickles. Now I'm just trying to work out also, do I want to get a whole bunch of variants on the coral types, or do I want to keep it a uniform? Do I want to make a pattern out of it in different colors? Do I want to keep it random? I guess I'm going to experiment with that as it goes. Okay, first of all, pickles. Hello, pickles. So I'm not going to go nuts with the pickles because I can just bone meal them. Because with my mob farm, bone mealing them is quite easy. Now that's another one of the... That's one of the tropical fish I've been looking for. Better watch out for the puffer fish. Got him. Now, I don't know if they will come back, if he'll keep that shape, or if he'll just spawn into a generic shape when I release him at home. Why is that a dead file? Oh, that's dead coral. I do need silk touch to get them. Well, that makes things a lot more interesting. I don't know how I pick up that stuff. I'm sure I picked it up before. Does that need silk touch as well? So I think my thing right now... Can I get silk touch from an enchanting table? What are the chances? I want to find a spot to put a portal. And I reckon under that thing. Or even in the side of it. Right in the side there, I reckon. Will make an excellent portal spot. Things are getting hairy now. Thank God there's no one with a trident right now. Okay, he's going to turn into a drowned. I need to find lava, which means what I should do is dig down. Well, it's starting to burn up in the sun. The funny thing is the sun's still behind the mountain, but it's still registering enough light to burn them. He's gone all passive. Hey Spidey. I love the way the water's now all different colours and stuff. It's really changed the whole dynamic of the game. I can hear lava. That's all around me now. There it is. Epic. What is that? That is another tropical fish. Don't try and catch him. Got him. I really hope they do look the same as what I caught. Hey! That's right, you can't breathe underwater. Okay, let's see if this works. Little bitty portal. It's gonna be not big enough. You watch. Yep, not big enough. It's gotta be one bigger. Now it'll work. Bye bye. Oh, I always dread where I'm gonna end up on the other side. Okay. Near a gas, that's what I really love. If I'm really lucky, I might even pass another fortress along the way. I've had some pretty good luck so far. So finding myself back this way is going to be really tricky. Did someone say nether fortress? That's a nether fortress. But definitely that's more distinguishable than a glowstone block. My portal's just over the other side there though. I'm sure of it. I'm so sure this... Oh, this is... I've been up here. I know I've been up here. There's my path. Awesome. So I just shoot the path straight out that way, then across that way. I can see all my blocks that I've put out from here. That's actually really easy now. To my portal. Safely back home to Atlantis. And here we are. I notice it freezes up like that. When you come through the portal, it tends to freeze like that. I'm not exactly sure why. Now, I've got this guy here. I created another NPC in here called Shroom. He was supposed to be guardian of the mushroom farm before I worked out a spawning location for it. Look at him. He's gotten into the pumpkin farm. I don't even know how he got there. Okay, so, job at hand. Let's see what happens when we release some fish. I hope they don't just all turn into clownfish. I don't want just clownfish. I want clownfish. I don't want just clownfish. Awesome. He's not a clownfish. And it looks like they've maintained their colour system. That's good. That's really good. I'm really happy now. I've got two different, they look like the same type of tropical fish, but just a little bit of a different colouring. So it's maintained that colouring system. Okay, so my next thing is, it looks like I need Silk Touch. Now I need to get out of here. Next on the agenda, I think, is I'm going to start working out where am I going to put my enchanting table, and can I get Silk Touch. But that's going to be for another day. For today, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.